All right. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen. We are the Dish live on the scene, Germ So True, alongside our guys from the Dish. We got Jorge and we got the tie through, Mr. Tyrell himself. Um, Fellas, let's just get right into it. Let's just get right into this whole thing. Welcome to our viewers on Twitch. Welcome to our viewers on YouTube. Welcome to our viewers on Facebook from the fan page. And most of all, welcome to our viewers on Twitter. Um, hey man, let's just jump right into it. Or hey bro, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Good, man. Good, good. Happy to be back again. After last week's show, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Just ready to get right on it.
Ty, my brother, how you doing, man?
Man, I am all good in AZ. Shout out to all my people on the East Coast. Stay warm. I'm sorry I get to enjoy this, sunshine and somewhat warm weather. So if you snowed in, be safe out there. I feel for you, but gives you time to catch up with the scene. Let's play ball.
So let's just jump right into it. Major news, developing stories right now in the league, leagues that we in the league we love. We got Trevor Bauer on the horizon for Jorge's Mets. Jorge, let's talk about it. What's going on?
Man, it's huge if they get him. Right now, they're reporting it'll be 3 years, about 100 million. So that comes out to about 33.3 million a year. Now, I'm hearing different type of things. I'm hearing that the contract may be front loaded, meaning in the first year they may give him more money or maybe even a signing bonus. I don't know yet. That's what I'm hearing, and that's what I've heard in the last couple of minutes. Now, this is huge for the Mets, and I was talking about this on a live I went about the Mets and something somewhere else. That if the Mets were to get Bauer, it just puts them in contention for the division. They were not there yet because they needed one more pitcher. And who do they go get if they do wind up signing him in the next 24 hours, which is what they're saying they're supposed to do, or Bauer's supposed to sign somewhere? They went out to get last year's Cy Young Award winner. So you have the last two Cy Young Award winners, or the last three actually, because DeGrom won it back to back, and Bauer. So the last two Cy Young Award winners who went 1 and 2, which I don't care who you are, that's nasty. You don't want to face them in a 3-game series, and now you have Stroman as 3, and if Syndergaard comes back healthy at 4, that's insane. That's an insane pitching staff now if they do land Bauer. Now, one thing I do want to mention, don't forget the Mets. They have 24 million extra to spend because Cano was actually suspended this year for PEDs. That's 24 mil off the books. That's going to go straight to Bauer's pockets. So really, this first year, if they do wind up paying 33.3 a year with the first year opt out, they're really only going to pay him 9.3 a year. So which is huge. They're not really paying him much of anything. They're just offsetting contracts. This is huge for the Mets. Just takes them to the next level.
Ty, what are your thoughts on Bauer, Mets, and this potential signing?
So if the Mets pull it off, I mean, it's going to be huge. I'm going to ignore Jorge for the whole season. Not going to talk to him at all. But I'm not worried. I'm not worried. Yes, he could potentially have like the greatest starting rotation in the National League. But also, this is an interesting show because the Dodgers are right there for the Trevor Bauer sweepstakes. I want to bring that up. So, I mean, if we, sign him, because I hear we want to offer Bauer at least, 1 or 2 year deal with being upwards of 34 mil annually to get him paid, but on a short-term basis, I think he'll take it. I mean, why go to New York where it's cold when you can come to LA and do movies and, be on the beach and, enjoy yourself. But if he does go to the Mets, I'll give them credit. And then we have to look at the Braves like, well, what are you going to do about, this dangerous lineup now and this dangerous starting pitching rotation? So they potentially will be the best team in the East. And that's scary. That's scary.
So now, with the Bauer potential signing, will Bauer potentially make this Mets team the best in their division? Jorge, thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, like I said, man, that that signing or that trade that they did by getting Lindor at shortstop, you have your franchise if you lock them up for the next 8 years, which we is big. They also got to line up sign Conforto, a right fielder, which is turning into a star, and then you have Alonso, which is Rookie of the year before last, and now you have the best. Well, the last two Cy Youngs in the starting rotation. Yeah, I think for sure it takes them into the NL and top of the NL East. Now, no, I'm not taking anything away from the Braves. They were one game away from the World Series. They choked. It is what it is. But I just think the Mets now will be too deep to for them to contend with.
Okay. Ty?
That's a lot of talent. You can't, knock, the Mets for the moves they're making. Like they're willing and dealing. So do I want this signing to happen? No, not at all. But my division, not my problem. So we'll see you in the postseason if you do get them. But get the wallets ready. And now that the Mets have a new owner, they may want to make that move and spin well. But this is all in, the ball is in Bauer's corner. Do you want a long-term deal or do you want a short-term deal where you get your money but you're not locked in? So it all depends on what him and his agents want to do and where he wants to be. I hope it's the sunshine and the beach over snow and New York accents and attitudes.
Hey, man. Hey, look, let me just say this right now. Hey, listen, don't worry, Jorge. I got you. Hey, Ty is one of them dudes that anybody who challenged his little team over there on the West Coast, he gonna be a little bit of a hater of them. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay. It's all right. Hey, look, Jorge, I'll be a Mets fan with you this year, especially on the NL side, and we're gonna tag team on Ty all year because I'm a fan of DeGrom. I'm a fan of Lindor. I'm a fan of Trevor Bauer. I'm a fan of everything over there that's on the Mets team. The more I love this team, they are going to be exciting to watch this year, and I'm here for it. Next, I'm telling you, the only thing that they got to do, and this is the big if with every team in baseball, you got to hit. And that's the only thing that doesn't transition season to season. So, Ty, that goes for you too. That goes for you too, buddy. Because you got a lot of busters over there, cuz. A lot of busters, cuz. Shouts out to our guy, Big Shot, for that. So next, as we transition to the next part real quick, final thoughts. We're going to wrap this up and go to the next segment of the show. But Jorge, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing is I do want to say, man, like I'm a Mets fan, and still I'm gonna say that I don't expect the championship this year. Even though they're fully loaded, it will be nice. But look at all the changes they've made in 1 year. The new owner, he has money to spend, and he's spending it. He said he has a 5 year window to win the championship. I think he was really saying maybe like two. If we don't get it this year, we're gonna get it within the next 2 3 years. I would say, for sure. Just too much talent. There's no way you're gonna keep them out of the playoffs.
it's if you don't make the playoffs with these rosters, man, we got other things we need to start talking about.
That's what I'm saying.
Ty, final thoughts as we get to the next segment of the show.
Final thoughts, Lindor, get your Wheaties, man. You're gonna have to have a big monster season if the
As
Mets
much
are gonna like get past the first round.
as
Or
much
even
as I
get to the
love, listen,
postseason.
listen, I'm not about to do this with him, man. The next segment of the show, we want to talk about black athletes in the majors. And we want to talk about a couple key things, and then we're gonna tie this into something else a little bit later in the show. But Ty, let's start with you. Let's start with you because you brought the topic to the forefront. Let's talk about it. Black athletes in the majors today.
Well, shout out to Black History Month. Important time in our culture to celebrate Black excellence. And we're in a part of the game where you're seeing a lot of players have big names and have big, performances. Mookie Betts being one of them. You got shout out to the MLB, the show crossing over, but you have great representation in bringing Jackie Robinson over to the MLB show 2K21. And he's going to be on the special edition cover. And what I wanted to bring up was just because I was inspired by another, podcast, another show. Ken Griffey was on Club Shay Shay. If you didn't catch that, that was a good show. And they brought up the topic of, how do we get Black players involved more in baseball? And it's tough. It's really tough. I think, we can do better as a country to encourage Black athletes to, try, get on the diamond. And there needs to be better resources. There needs to be better programs for the youth to encourage them to participate in arguably one of the three major sports in the country. And the MLB is a big league. There is a lot of money involved, but where is the talent from, Black athletes? And there needs to be, more exposure and more opportunities and lanes for Black athletes to, get into the majors. And just, participate at a young age. Like me, my first sport actually was t-ball. Before I picked up a basketball, unfortunately, I never got to do football because, mom didn't want me to get hurt. But my first sport was t-ball. I was a Cardinal. And I had a lot of fun. It's loads of fun. And actually playing baseball when I got older as a teenager, I actually played in a private league. I didn't play at the high school level at my high school. I played in a private league. But unfortunately, in certain areas, you don't have that. And unfortunately, with baseball, you have equipment that you have to buy. You have parents, who may not be able to afford, the uniform plus the glove plus the cleats. You have particular things that you need to be successful on the diamond. And hopefully, there will be more incentives for parents to be bigger advocates for their kids and for cities and states to get behind these kids who want to play. It's a great game. It's America's pastime. And I just want to see more opportunities for Black athletes to shine in baseball. I mean, nothing, against basketball, nothing against football, but let's get more, participation and more greatness and celebration of Black athletes in this beloved sport that I cherish and that many cherish. Jorge, what do you think, man? What are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, man. To go with what you're saying, I think in part the school system fails in a lot of cities. There's a lot of middle schools and a lot of high schools that don't even include baseball as a sport, and I mean just going off of that. I don't think it's fair for the kids. Then you have to look for outside resources, meaning a league to where the kids have to actually play, whether it's a local or a travel team. A travel team is pretty expensive, man. A travel team, you got to pay all the travel. You got to pay basically you're paying for the umps. You're paying for the basically if you have a bus to take the kids to and from, you can pay upwards of $500 for a travel team, and that gets expensive. And I think they have to do better to include baseball. Baseball is, like you said, one of the top three sports in the U.S. Behind football and basketball. But out of the three, is it less physical, meaning not a lot of contact. You're not going to get injured that often unless it's something from you being a pitcher and having an elbow or a shoulder because you're an outfield or you're getting hit by a pitch. But it's something that definitely, whether it be sponsors or sponsorship or the school is getting more involved or whatever, but there's money to be made. The top players make about, like we were just talking about, Bauer, over top about 30 million a year. Average players make, let's say 15, 10 million a year. There's money to be made, and I think it's something that needs to be drilled in the kids' heads, along with baseball and basketball and football. That's usually what they drift to because it's the bigger sport. But this one's less physical, and yeah, it requires a hand-eye coordination, being used to getting in the plate, facing 70, 80, 90 miles per hour. But over time, you develop that, just like you develop any other skill in any other sport. It just needs to be, more, as far as more in school systems, to get kids into it and get them in young. Like you said, T-ball was my first thing. I picked up a baseball bat and started playing T-ball when I was like, I think 4 or 5 years old, man. I remember my mom taking me to my games, and from there it started growing, and I played all through high school and loved baseball. Baseball was my first love. And it just needs to be in inner cities more, because I think the school system is where it's failing, honestly.
Let me just say this too. And I think this is a big key thing that we have to really understand when it comes down to this whole ensemble that we have here. And that thing is it's marketing. We got to make sure we understand that they don't market to these kids what it is to be a great baseball player. It's certain players that stand out more than others in baseball, but those are your prime time guys. You know what I'm saying? Mike Trout in LA is a legendary. He could probably walk through all California and everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
But how many people are going to know who some of these other guys are? How many people really watch baseball outside of the World Series or outside the hunt for October during that stretch? Basketball is a year-round sport for some people.
Mhm.
Why? Because everybody likes the way that basketball is marketed. Baseball is not, and this is something that ties into a conversation we had at 94 Feet of Life. And shouts out to MJ. Basketball changed when David Stern in 84 made it all about the player being marketed as the guy. So in baseball, what do we sell in baseball? We sell the team.
The team.
So the thing is, in sports, why we like basketball more is because we get to have the GOAT conversation. So the GOAT conversation is what sparks that whole thing when it comes down to it. So now we saturate that and we turn it over to football. Now football, we got a lot of GOAT conversations. These are all team sports. There are people around Jordan that made Jordan great, but people will act like Jordan was the only guy that was great on that team. That's not possible. There was people who will act like Tom Brady is the only player on the team, which he's not. There are people who will walk around and they will give you things and say that the things that Aaron Rodgers does is so great. But if the receivers don't catch the ball, does it really matter how great the throw was? We see this every week. All we want to talk about is who's the GOAT, who's the best, who's who's this. Bro, it's a team sport. The best team in baseball wins 95% of the time. Why do I say 95%? Because you got to beat somebody over a week. Beating somebody 4 times over a week and you're overmatched, that's one thing. In football, you have to win once. It's win or go home. That's when it's the most unpredictable. And in basketball, 99% of the time, the best team wins. Why? Again, in this sport, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
So let's not take any more of this extra marketing thing. Our parents loved basketball and football more than they love baseball. Let's call it what it is. So that's why we got it the way we got it. So now that we walk around in this situation and we look at this, that's the reason why it's not being marketed to the black community or the inner city kids, because baseball is not looked at the way the meal ticket to get you out the hood. Baseball is looked at as more of a Caucasian sport when it's really actually for everybody. So just some things that I've seen on that aspect of it. I like the direction of that. So closing thoughts on this, because we're gonna dive into some more stuff like this, and we're gonna do it in a panel discussion. But Todd, based on some of the things that we all covered here, what's a solution?
Well, I mean, we need to get another marketing goat, another kid, another Ken Griffey, another Frank Thomas, Big Hurt, another Kenny Lofton. Maybe, because when you look at those athletes, they were on TV shows, they were on video game covers. Ken Griffey Jr. had his own shoe that actually still sells well to this day. Who doesn't want a pair of Griffies? So can Mookie Betts get a signature shoe? Can Tim Anderson get, on a TV show and do cameos? Can we get a reboot of Major League and somebody, a young actor, plays somebody who's like Willie Mays Hayes? I don't know, but that's exposure, and I would love to see that for these great athletes that are in the league. Andrew McCutchen didn't get that, but his name was out there. I think he did get a cover of one of the MLB The Show games, but not too many people know about him. Dontrell Willis had a hot, year, and people were riding the D train. But what else, did people see from the D train?
Jorge, any final thoughts?
Yeah, they like Big Shot said there in the comments, man. And I'm gonna just go off of him. They don't really market their players well, or not enough, and like Vic also said in the comments, sorry, I'm going through that. But he said that if Trout walks through the streets of New York, a lot of people won't know who he is, and that's facts. And because he plays in L.A. and he plays late, one, and then two, people aren't staying up to watching him play, and then probably forget about watching the highlights, and they just don't market him enough. They don't market their players, and they need to do that for the younger kids because what attracts you to playing the sport? Usually a player. Like let's say in the NBA, it's LeBron. Let's say in football, it's Brady, it's Breeze, it's whoever you look up to on your team. But a lot of these teams, it's not people. They're not marketing them enough. They're not putting their faces all over. What they're putting all over is the team name, like you said, Jerm, and they need to do that better. That needs to grow so these kids want to be the people they look up to.
And let me say this to Vic's comment. Vic's comment, that's cool. And they may not know him in New York, but we're talking about LA. And I specified that. LA. We're talking about where he is. LA's market is where you're at. But again, Mike Trout not being known in New York, that's Major League Baseball's problem, not Mike Trout's problem.
Exactly.
So again, we're talking about LeBron can't walk to any state across this country and not be known. Tom Brady can't go to any state across this country and not be known. Again, what my point is that I'm driving home is we're talking about the marketing of the sports. If baseball makes all of this money, why don't they invest more into marketing to marketing the players? And shouts out to Big Shot because you said something here that I really, really, really want to cover, and I'm gonna cover it here in a minute or less. You said that sports need to market more to kids. Well, guess what? The NBA and the NFL got foundations that they do that under their nonprofits. So they got the NFL Cares, they got the NBA Cares, and they go into the schools and they do these different things. Even the WWE does the same thing. They do it with the kids that are sick. They do it with all types of stuff. What I'm noticing is noticing that the major leagues do not do these things. These are things that the major leagues do not participate in as much. And that's what the key of everything is. Marketing matters. Marketing matters. All of these players are their own individual entities and brands. And that's what we are starting to understand now. The team has already made the money, but the players now individually are now seeking the bag. So now that's a whole different can of worms now, because now the club has made the money. So whose job is it now for the player to go out there and actually let's put it out there? Whose job is it for Mike Trout to go out there and market himself? It's Mark Trout's job. but that's the way the major leagues thinks. I want you, and just to tie this into another point, we talked about Hank Aaron, and we talked about Hank Aaron on the show the last time we were on, fellas. And Ty brought up a point about Hank Aaron not being able, about people saying, "Hey, we need to sponsor this guy. He needs to be a face of a brand." Do y'all understand why that's relevant to this conversation? Because the brand is picking him based on him and his numbers. In baseball, we don't even have the same numbers. So 30% of the time you're a Hall of Famer. In basketball, if you're part of the 50, 40, 90 club, 9 out of 10 times, that is a well-documented stat, and people know what that means. Understanding of the games and how they're marketed is the key. We're going to have a panel discussion. We're going to be here for it. I'm here for it. I got a lot left to say about this. This is a great topic, Ty. I appreciate you bringing this to the forefront today. So I'm going to read a couple comments as we get ready to wrap up here the last 5 minutes of the show, and then we're going to break out some interesting little news here. Shouts out to everybody in the comments. I know where everybody's at. I see y'all on the scene YouTube page. I see that y'all are on the Facebook page. We don't have anybody right now on the Twitch page, but that's cool. It's brand new. And of course, the Twitter page, y'all can just dabble in and out of those as well. But I see everybody and where everybody's moving. We got Vic. Thanks. Shouts out to Vic in the comments. He said, Ahmad Rosario leaving NY sucks, but bring in the Puerto Rican Prince. I believe he's referring to Lindor. And then he said, I believe that many black kids that didn't make it big in basketball or football could have been pro baseball players if they actually liked or been introduced to the sport. I think that's a very good point as well. Shouts out to Trav in the comments. Big Shot. Again, I'm going to read this comment again because it's very powerful. Sports also needs to market to kids. That is a very big, important thing. I really want to say that. At the end of the day, that's beautiful. And then shouts out to Victor with all of his comments here. What else did he say? Oh, well, we still talk about how Vic didn't watch Major League. Ladies and gentlemen, one of our guys has still not seen Major League. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me how that happened, but he's a baseball guy. Don't ask me how that happened. I don't know. I have nothing else to say. We've been trying to get him to watch it for 4 years now.
4 years. I was about to say that.
Yep.
Facebook comments over here. Shouts out to everybody in the Facebook comments. We got Trav. I'm everywhere. MJ actually was saying it was unfair, fam, when he was referring to the comments that you were making about some of the things that was going on with the marketing aspect, or not the marketing, but the how the players are looking. And then we have Trav actually went to Webster and he said, team, a group of individuals joined together to achieve a common goal. Ham said he is coming for the actual he said he's coming for the actual panel. Shouts out to all of the people in the comments. Shouts out to Siobhan. Shouts out to Tomorrow. Thanks, ladies, for showing up to the party, for the support. We appreciate it. And yes, Vicky is in timeout, Siobhan, because he never watches anything we tell him to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Damn shame.
And that just was what it is.
Then he asked why he don't understand anything.
Yep. So hey, look, it's always what? I don't know. But with that being said, that's the thing. What? So with that being said, shouts out to everybody in the comments again. Trav, that's not common knowledge. You can't say that's common knowledge because everybody don't know that. But with that being said, Jorge, actually, before I come to you, Ty, what is some of the little breaking news that we got here on the video game front?
So shout out to Fernando Tatis. He is the cover athlete, like I said, for MLB The Show 21. And big news for those who are engaged in the game wars between Sony and the PlayStation and Microsoft and their Xbox. The show is finally coming to Xbox. The show used to be a PlayStation exclusive, but now the show 21 will be available for Xbox gamers, so everybody can play. And salute to Tatis, who had a great season from the Padres. He looks good on the cover. And like I said, great thing to do to have a special edition honoring Jackie Robinson. And he's going to be the cover athlete for the special edition. So standard edition, you got Tatis. Special edition, Jackie Robinson, 42 forever.
Jorge, any final thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, that's huge. As far as Tatis goes, getting that cover, that's awesome. And then the other thing is, we're talking about marketing. How are you going to just eliminate one system as far as you being a sport and not going out on Xbox? You can reach so much other more people and faces, and that's another piece that we're talking about marketing. Just the game alone could sell itself, sell the game for you, meaning the sport. And hopefully now it does that. They're reaching a whole other platform. So hopefully that also gets more fans.
And with that being said, my final thoughts for the day is I want to thank everybody for tuning in on all of the platforms that they've tuned in on. Shouts out to the people on Twitter. Shouts out to the people on Twitch. Shouts out to the people on Facebook. Shouts out to the YouTube comments. The Scene, THESCEN. That is on YouTube. The_scene on Twitch. Scene_the on Twitter. The.scene on Instagram. Make sure you guys continue to check out this content as we continue to drop it on you. With that being said, we got a bomb show for you guys tomorrow afternoon. Blind GM, 94 Feet of Life. But with that being said, signing off from the dish. We out, y'all.